It's a recurring theme. I've seen the same thing while walking late at night, and I know it's not a dream.
From Maelstrom to Manhattan, Boston to LA, there are people asking questions and they will not go away. But what has been seen might not be what it seems. The government's shadows dance in the sea.
If you tell the truth, they will ridicule everything you say and do. It's all part of a deception. It's a puppet master's tool. And I've seen those craft shut down up to silos from 10 miles away. And there ain't nothing that the Pentagon can do. They can't make them go away.
From Maelstrom to Manhattan, Boston to LA, there are people asking questions and they will not go away.
You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, from our compound to you worldwide, with your host, Gary Anderson.
Hey, that is me. A big shout out to all the truckers that listen to the show when they're making their nighttime long hauls. I just want to say thank you guys. I got so many emails. I got another story last night from a trucker. Actually, I read it this morning. It said that he was out near Dallas and he saw this hitchhiker, and it looked like a young lady in her early 20s, but she was wearing clothes from the 60s, and her hair was like of the 60s, the style of it. And he let her on the truck. She got into the truck. He was hauling her down the road for about 15 miles, and then she said, "Hey, I want out here." He let her out. And then when he looked in the rearview mirror and it was out in the middle of nowhere, she disappeared. She was gone. I love these stories I get from truckers. Hey, James, are you still here?
Yes, I am still here.
Could you imagine you pick up a hitchhiker, right? And they're dressed like in the 60s or 70s or the 50s, and you're talking to them for like 10, 15 minutes, and they're talking to you, and then they went out of the car or truck out in the middle of nowhere, and you see them getting out of the truck, but then as soon as they're out of the truck, they're gone. They're not there. They never existed.
I know that would be something that would definitely raise the hairs on your neck and get your attention.
Oh, yeah. And, that's the type of stories I really like. I mean, they're creepy, they're scary, but I hear a lot of stories like that.
Oh, I've heard a few of them. There's a story, it's similar, not with a trucker, but that I can't think of the cemetery's name. It's a famous cemetery there in Chicago about the lady in white, where she'll want to ride on that one road, and people will pick her up, and she'll say either drop me off, and it's usually at the gate of the cemetery, or else she'll just disappear in your car. Same principle.
Yeah, that story, what you just mentioned. I hear that. I've heard that from so many truckers through the years, and that particular story has migrated all over the United States. They're driving their truck, or somebody's driving their car, and they see this beautiful girl walking on the side of the road, and they let her in the car or let them into the truck, and then they just start saying, "Well, my boyfriend, dumped me off here in the middle of nowhere," and they're talking, and then all of a sudden, you come up to this little town, and there's a cemetery at the edge of town, and the girl goes, "Oh, drop me off here." And then you feel very uncomfortable dropping somebody off, in an old cemetery. So you go up to the sheriff's department or the police department and said, "Hey, this girl gave me her name, and she wanted me to drop her off at the cemetery." And then the cops look at you like, "Oh, there's another one."
funny you mentioned that. I've heard of 3 different cases that I've come across in my life, all on Route 66 in the Southwest. And they were all from truckers, different truckers through different time spans, spanning over a 20-year period, where somebody would just appear in their truck, not always a woman, sometimes it would be a man, and before you know it, before the shock would wear off, they would just disappear. And then, then the shock really set in.
Oh, yeah. It's bad enough. I won't pick up a hitchhiker because you never know. They could knife you, shoot you, rob you, take your car away, dump your body out. It's not worth it. But I tell you what, emotionally, if you picked up somebody and then, you let them out of the car or out of the cab of your truck and they vanish in thin air, I mean, that would be like really freaky, wouldn't it?
Oh, my. Yeah, that would be beyond freaky. That would scar you, first of all. Jeez, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know who.
Oh, I'm kind of concerned. Okay, well, a amateur astronomer just found a bizarre comet coming from another solar system, coming into our solar system, and it's coming. Well, they say now, on reading this, it's coming towards Earth. You know
what? It's funny you mention that. I've got 2 reports about comets that you mentioned now that you brought it up. Well, actually, an asteroid. But the asteroid that's called 2019 R91, it came within 23,238 miles within Earth's surface. Now, just think about that for a little bit. Now, it went undetected, and it got closer to the Earth than some satellites, actually.
Oh, yeah.
That's in orbit. And it was traveling at 57,000 plus miles an hour. Now, this is according to NASA. And it came from our daytime side, so that's why we supposedly couldn't detect it until it got into the night sky part. So that's kind of scary if you think about that right there. And they said it was between 23 to 56 feet in diameter, making it some size or the same size as the one that went off in Russia in 2013. And I don't know if you remember that one, but it caused a lot of damage.
Yeah, well, this one that they spotted here today is named C2019 Q4.
2019 Q4. I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, it just popped in, and it's projected. It's coming. It's projected to come towards Earth. It's angled and everything towards Earth. So hopefully it makes a turn before it comes to our planet.
Yeah. Now, I did hear a report of another one. Let me see. I got it here in my notes somewhere. This one here, I don't see it, but anyway, I do remember reading about it. It's supposed to come so close that it's not going to hit the Earth. However, they say the tail or the plume behind it could have a lot of what is called acid, and we could get a lot of acid rain. And let me tell you something. Here it is. In June it was reported that an asteroid will fly by Earth close enough, not to hit, but we could get a lot of acid rain from it. And with that acid rain, they say there's danger that it could kill all vegetation or even melt the flesh off of animals or people. And that's just from one coming close by from the plume from one. Think about that for a minute.
Isn't that scary? But you know what? I mean, again, NASA needs more money to watch this stuff, because it's funny, in the last couple months, it's like all these comets, all these asteroids, all this stuff that, I don't know, but this one is kind of scary because it's heading towards Earth. So I don't know, hopefully it changes, before it gets here.
Absolutely, because here's another thing that people don't realize. There's a whole I can't think what it's called, the asteroid belt out there, but if another small planetary body gets close to it, or they bump into each other and they knock them out of the orbit, stuff like that is what gets them running rogue and could come toward us at any given time. The pull of the gravity from these other planets and stuff could steer it toward us, or they run into each other. And then, obviously, if they come at us in our daylight, we can't detect them till it's too late. So that's a scary thought.
Oh, yeah. And at this point, we can't defend ourselves against anything like that. But, it's just not that. It's this weird things going, like the black hole in our solar system, they said now is getting hungry, and it's just trying to suck up anything it can suck up.
That's scary too, and yeah, I've seen about that. And the thing is, even I seen on Science Channel, a black hole just the size of your pinky nail could really cause a lot of damage. Not to mention one the size that's in the center of our galaxy.
And then on a planet K2-18b, okay, which is not habited by us, but they have now detected on this planet, which is quite a bit bigger than Earth, it's in a habitable zone. In other words, they figure, we could live on it. They now have detected water in the atmosphere.
I briefly seen something go by the news feed real quick about that, but I didn't get a chance to read it. So, yeah. And, another thing, I can remember when I was in school, even 20 years ago. Now, I know when I was in school, they said, they taught us there's probably no planets out there with water on. We can't even find other planets. Do you know how many planets we have found in the last 20 years?
Do you know how many we found in the last probably 6 months? It's scary. We found other solar systems and other galaxies in this last 2 months, let alone. I mean, we're finding things now that we've never even thought could exist. And yet people say, okay, we're the only type humanoids in existence. There's no way there could be life anywhere else. Come on, people. If they're finding planets with water on it, if they're finding all this stuff out there, galaxies and solar systems that, we didn't even know that existed, it's telling you there is things out there. I don't know if they look like a praying mantis or if they look like a gray. I still have a funny feeling that, people think grays look like grays. I think that's because we've seen some of these movies through the years that our minds interpret that's what these aliens should look like. So when we see the aliens, they kind of maybe know what our minds think of. So that's why we see these little short grays and all this stuff. Who knows what they really honestly look like?
Right. In my opinion only, I think those small little grays are like a combination biological and like a robot type mixture, that they're like just drones that do all the dirty work for them, so to speak, if that makes any sense. I think the real brains of the operations, I think they sit up in the ship waiting for them to bring people that they abduct and bring up in there and do their weird stuff that they do to us or whatever, and then send us back.
I don't know what it's scary because I got a funny feeling. Who knows what they look like? Maybe we can't even see them. Maybe they're in a different dimension than us, and they're walking right now, right through your living room or your studio, and you wouldn't even know it.
Right, and then on top of that, you got to figure in this: there's not just one race of alien. There's many, many different ones, and they all could have different aspects of things like you just said. We can't see, different sizes. They might only be 1 inch tall. It could be 8 foot tall. You got to figure in all these different variables that come into play.
How about 15 or 20 feet? Because, people are talking now about some of these supposedly spacecrafts being big as a football field or big as a Walmart store, right? Tells me that these creatures might not be like 5'11" or 6 foot tall. They could be 10 foot, 15 foot tall. And that's the size craft they have because that's the dimensions. Don't forget, supposedly they have found on our planet skeletons of giants, let alone little people like Sam talks about. Again, talking about Sam, some of these little creatures he's taking pictures, are, with like a helmet on. You saw that one.
Yes, I did, exactly.